Welcome to this week's episode. Today we are talking about the ultimate voicemail outline.
Yes.
Yes. We all hate voicemail, don't we?
Actually, nowadays I use it more and more, not leaving messages, but because of all the calls that we're not supposed to get.
Yeah.
Because when I do not call us, etc. If I don't recognize the number, I just let it go to voicemail. If they don't leave me one,
you're not talking
to
to
me.
me. Right, exactly. And to be honest, when we actually, up until about a year ago, I almost never left voicemail because I thought it was a waste of time. I thought, nobody's ever going to call me back from a voicemail, right? But I have changed my mind, and we'll tell you why, right? Some things just don't lend themselves to three. So we're going to get there, but this is going to be a 5-sentence outline that you can use to create your own voicemail message that actually does work, right?
So you're giving something away.
Exactly.
See how you are?
Well, it happens, If people start doing better in the aviation industry, then they start being able to afford more of our products and services, right?
Of course.
So we share some of the things that we learn along the way, and this is one of them. So I'll share my outline, and you can use it yourself. Okay, so first of all, what's working against us?
Yeah, that phone spam, robocalls, good night alive.
Oh, man. I don't know if this is true all over the world, but in the United States, it has gotten so out of hand. I don't even answer my phone anymore. I let everything roll to voicemail. I know you do too.
Unless I've made an identifier on it so that I know who it is.
Yeah, so if you recognize the number.
Right.
But if you don't recognize the number, you never pick it up.
No, and I go a step further. I actually block the call.
Right. You wouldn't believe this, but actually we get calls from numbers that are very similar, that have the same identifiers and everything else. The people that do these kind of spam calls have gotten really, really good at making a number look familiar to you because it'll have the same 4 last or the same 3 first or something.
As a matter of fact, I got a call from myself.
Oh my gosh.
They spammed my phone number, and it looked at it, it was me calling me. And I thought, what? And I went to block it, and I said, no, wait a minute. I said,
if I block myself...
But I don't call myself.
Oh my gosh.
So I can block my number.
Okay.
And I did.
Okay, well, all right. So, good for you. However, obviously we're up against quite a bit if we are on the other end of that and we are making calls in order to do business with people, right? Exactly. Okay. There is phone screening and technology and gatekeepers, and we have a very, very nice set of people that answer our phone. We employ gatekeepers. Most people, I think, that are in business, that's one of the first investments that they make is who's going to answer the phone and how are we going to keep from wasting our time on robocalls and spam.
As a matter of fact, when you call our business number, you always get a person.
Human being.
Unless it's after hours. Right.
If you call during business hours in Mountain Time, then you get a human being, and I really think that's important. It's kind of beyond the scope of what we're talking about today.
No, we're talking about phone and robocalls. I mean,
yeah,
they stop them. Yeah,
they do, and so they do the hanging up for us, which is nice. And if they get a human. They do a really nice job of screening those calls and making sure that we get the ones that are important and the ones that are obviously somebody that doesn't know anything about us, that's just randomly dialing numbers that we don't bother with. And the third thing is that I think even more than ever, salespeople hate making phone calls because of all of those things, right?
Yeah, at least. And then there's the other one, fear.
And fear, yeah. So, I'm guilty as well. I seriously dislike the phone. I will do just about anything to avoid picking up the phone and calling, but it is so effective that I can't not, right? It would be irresponsible for that to not be part of our sales strategy, right? Okay, so what's working for us? In the aviation industry, as far as the decision makers go, demographics. If you want to be in the thought process of an aviation decision maker who is male, 45 plus, college educated, old school, chances are he is more likely to answer the phone than he is to, or at least to return a phone call, than he is to pick up an email or open an email from somebody that doesn't know, or respond to an email.
We should talk about emails another time.
We will talk about emails another time. Same thing with social media. You can do the LinkedIn, you can do a lot of things, and we'll talk about those also another time. And there's a lot of LinkedIn spam nowadays.
Oh, heavens.
Yeah, somebody's invented software that will let you spam your LinkedIn contacts, and I think they need to be shot.
Well, at least removed.
Okay, fine. I'm not advocating murder in real life, but seriously, it has disintegrated the credibility of even the most credible of social networks.
Yes, it has.
To the point where people are afraid to accept friend requests, and they are afraid to open their LinkedIn messages. So a lot of people don't even do that anymore. So the other thing is tradition. I've actually had somebody say, I didn't think you were interested in doing business with us because you haven't called me in a few months, Like, but I've been sending you email, and I've been sending you postcards, and, I've been sending you stuff. But people think that if you're really interested in doing business with them, you will give them a call every once in a while. That's what good salespeople do, right?
Evidently.
Evidently, exactly. And the third thing is that your competitors have left the field. A lot of times they will use the newer tools rather than the older ones. They have shiny object syndrome. They'll invest all of their time and money into something that is easier and cooler and neater and more modern and everything else, and doesn't work, right?
That's right. It doesn't work. I'm glad you added that.
Exactly. But looks good and, has good statistics and everything else. But, as far as when it comes down to sales, the phone really is a very necessary part of this equation, as much as I wish it wasn't. Okay, so here's the problem. This is your prospect, right? He's there and he's gone. And if you didn't see that, that was the Tasmanian Devil of Looney Tunes fame, and I hope we don't get into copyright trouble, but if we do, my apologies. But he is the best example that I can think of the type of prospect that we're talking about. They're super busy. I had a lady that I worked with at a bank who was like this, and actually I was her direct report. And she was so hard to get a hold of, and she was so hard to work with. I would actually have to plan a way to get her attention in order to get a decision on anything, and so on. And so I've applied that to what we do now. So, how to talk to a human tornado, right? Number one, get in its way, right? So whatever it's doing all day, you want to be in the way of that. So if it's somebody who's on the phone all day, you need to be in their way. So with this person, I would actually, I knew when she was likely to leave her office to go to lunch or to go to a meeting or whatever, and I would literally stand there with my clipboard in hand saying, I need 4 decisions and 3 opinions before I can proceed on my projects. And she'd say, walk with me, right? And so we would walk, and I would very concisely ask her what I needed to ask her, and she would give me the answers that I needed, and that was the way that we did it.
Because if you weren't concise, she would say,
this is not interesting to me. And she would walk the other direction. Anyway, I'd lose her entirely. So I needed to start with, here are the reasons that it is in your best interest to listen to me. These are things that are going to be delayed if I don't have some input right now. And, if you're talking to somebody that you're trying to sell something to, you need to give them a reason to listen. So, many of my clients are losing money because of these things. And, many people with businesses like yours are losing money or are spending too much or are neglecting an opportunity because. So you need to give them a reason that resonates with them. Why is it? Put yourself in their shoes and say, why, when I am so busy, should I take the time to listen to you?
Yeah, it has to resonate with them. It's not a good reason to you.
Exactly. And the third thing is to not take it personally, right? So if you have a situation where they just run on by and you didn't even get the opportunity to talk to them, you don't take it personally. You get your hard hat on. If you get knocked over, that's okay. They didn't mean it. And you just go do that again the next day. You have to be persistent and everything else, because it's not personal. They are just a force of nature. They don't care about you, and they shouldn't, because they're running a business and they're busy. So you have to give them a reason, and you have to come up with a different reason if that one didn't work, and you have to keep trying. So these things happen, right?
Absolutely. We used to have a slide that we'd use that said, it takes, I don't remember the number,
20 plus.
20 plus contacts to make a sale.
Right. Exactly. And, sometimes just to get a foot in the door, it takes multiple contacts. And the phone should be among the ways that you're doing this. And, you shouldn't do a phone call every day unless you're really, actually, that might work.
And then they had, most salespeople give up after the third, second or third call.
Mm-hmm.
And most sales happen after the 12th or 15th call.
Right. That's true. And so you may not be making any progress with the first 3 or 4 calls. These things happen. What I do is, if I don't get a response, or if I get a non-committal or no progress from a first call, then I will send something else. I'll send a postcard, something like that, and then I'll try again. But a lot of people will just persist by phone, and if you don't have any money, that's your only option, is to use the phone. So these things happen. Okay, so that's how you talk to a human tornado. Okay, so here's our 5-sentence outline, and this is what you say when you're in the path of the tornado. And you have to have rehearsed this, I swear, because if you don't, you're going to be distracted by the flying cows, right? I kid you not. Okay, so, hi Taz, this is Paula Williams from ABCI. See, Taz meaning the tornado, right?
Right.
Okay. I saw your ad in the NBAA magazine, and I see that you're an MRO shop in Tucson. I'm calling because I provide insurance to aviation companies in this area, and I've found it in my experience that there are 3 mistakes that Part 145 owners make that cause them to overpay or be underinsured. Please give me a call at 702-987-1679 or look for my email. Let's sit down for a 20-minute conversation. I'd also like to learn more about your business so I can make intelligent referrals. Talk to you soon. Okay. So that was a 5-sentence outline. Hopefully you were listening. I didn't tell you to be listening for those 5 things.
Well, the fact that they're here, they're listening.
Exactly. So the 5-sentence outline, we gave an introduction, a reason I'm calling, and proof that I've done my homework, right? Mm-hmm. So I know they had an ad in the NBAA magazine. I know they are a Part 145 organization in Tucson, right? So here is the benefit that Taz will get if he calls me back. He'll find out about the 3 ways that his competitors likely are overpaying or whatever, and ways that he can prevent that. There's a specific offer, a consultation. And 5, I'm not a jerk. I'm interested in your business. I want to be able to make referrals. So, introduction, reason I'm calling, proof I've done my homework, benefit Taz. What is the benefit to Taz if he calls you back? Number 4, the specific offer. And number 5, I am not a jerk. Okay? That's a lot to get into a 30-second phone call. So now you're going to time me.
I am?
Yes, you are.
I guess I am.
Okay. And we are going to do this one more time, and you, our studio audience, are going to listen to those 5 elements in 30 seconds, right?
Okay. I actually have a timer.
Of course you do. So tell me when.
When?
Hi Taz, this is Paula Williams from ABCI. I saw your ad in the NBAA magazine, and I see that you're an MRO shop in Tucson. I'm calling because I provide insurance to aviation companies in this area, and I've found in my experience that there are 3 mistakes that Part 145 owners make that will cause them to overpay or to be underinsured. Please give me a call at 702-987-1679 or look for my email. Let's sit down for a 20-minute conversation. I'd also like to learn more about your business so that I can make intelligent referrals. Talk to you soon.
32 seconds.
32 seconds. Okay, I went over, right? We're shooting for 30. I did fumble a little bit. I did not rehearse this as much as I could have. Most machines will do either a 30 or a 45-second message, right?
Yes, and then I'll cut you off.
Yeah, exactly. So you want to make sure that you can get it in under 30 seconds. So I've got a little bit of work to do. That was not perfect, but it was pretty close. And I probably could have gotten it in under 30 seconds if I had done a little bit more rehearsing. Right?
Oh, I believe it.
Okay. All right. So did you hear those 5 sections?
Yes.
Introduction, reason I'm calling, and evidence that I've done my homework. Benefit Taz will get if he calls me back. Specific offer, and I'm not a jerk.
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right. The other thing that I said, you may have noticed in this message, was I'm also going to send you an email.
True.
Okay. One of the biggest problems with voicemail, a lot of times it will do a transcript, well or badly, of what you just said. And, so you want to make sure that you enunciate clearly. So if it gives him a transcript and if that's the way that he's reviewing it, it makes sense. But sometimes they get the phone number wrong. Sometimes, things go awry, whatever. So you also want to send an email with the bones of what we just talked about with those 5 sentences. Send them an email right after you left the voicemail. Now, if he's like John and heard the ding, then he may listen to the phone call, he may check his email, those kinds of things. It may have gotten his attention anyway, even though he didn't pick up, right?
Could be.
Right. So then it gives him 2 options to respond. He can either pick up the phone and call you back if he's a phone type guy, like John, or he can respond to the email if he happens to be an email type person like me, right?
True.
Okay, so then it gives your customer or your potential customer 2 options to call you back.
That's right.
Right. Now, last week, we talked about a holding pattern and how important it is. And so these phone calls are just one of many things that you should be doing with people who are in your pipeline. And hopefully you're also sending them newsletters. People listen to our podcast. We send them episodes, sending them emails, sending them books or calendars or Christmas cards or whatever, connecting with them on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, wherever they happen to be, and meeting with them at NBAA or whatever convention it is that you happen to go to. So those are all super important. And, this is just one component of many, but it's often your most powerful component because that's the one that gets the best response. Right?
Absolutely.
It's also the most expensive in terms of people time. So you may want to focus on just those 100 people who are the most likely to be good customers for you. When you're talking about making phone calls, you're not going to be making thousands of them. You might be focusing on a top 10 or a top 100 during this particular month, and then replace them next month with new people or whatever your strategy happens to be. But I would call more than once. So if you don't get a response, try again. Try up to 3 times at least, and carry on with that. And then I also try...
Not 3 times the same day.
No, not 3 times the same day.
Or the same week.
Or the same week, right? Exactly. So, you might want to leave a week and a half between calls.
Unless you don't leave a voicemail.
Right.
If you don't leave a voicemail, then you can call as many times you want in a day.
No, you can't, because they'll think you're a stalker. They're going to see that number multiple times, and they're going to go, what the heck? And they're going to block you.
Unless they have a receptionist.
Unless they have a receptionist, yeah. And then if you can make friends with the receptionist, and that's a whole other strategy where you get in good with the receptionist and make her understand that she is doing her boss a favor by making sure that he understands the importance of your call. But
her or him.
Her or him, yes. In both cases, we are not assuming that the receptionist is a woman, and we are not assuming that the boss is a guy. But demographically speaking, sometimes that's the way it works. So anyway, there's lots of ways of managing this, but being able to leave a really good voicemail is a very key skill nowadays. And it wasn't necessarily, I think a year ago we were advising people not to even leave voicemails.
As times change, you have to be flexible.
Exactly. We were just saying if you don't get somebody, call back. Now, you're never going to get somebody, so you might as well leave your voicemail. Okay, So to keep up with these things as they're changing and to be up on, what's working for people and what's not, we have a group of people that interacts in a private Facebook group. We share tips and tricks. We share what's working. We celebrate each other's successes, and we share tools in a way that really makes them cost effective for everyone, including some of the tools that will help you get the data that you need and get the training you need and the skills and everything else to do really good sales and marketing.
Together with all the tools, and then you talk with us, and she can give you excellent marketing advice.
Why, thank you. But it is actually over $1,000 worth of tools and training and consulting and everything else for $279 a month. So that is the very best deal that we could possibly make for small companies, and we really do want people in the aviation industry to succeed because it is a small world, and the better we all do, and the more money you have to spend on us and our services and things like that. So it is not all altruism, but we do really enjoy working with people in this industry.
Yes.
So join our lab, and we'd love to have you. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you soon.
See you next time.